Welcome back to Rewind Rental, episode 11. This week we're talking about the Burbs, which was directed by Joe Dante, starring Tom Hanks, Carrie Fisher, Wendy Schaal, Corey Feldman, and Bruce Dern. We'll get into the cast and the many zany characters in the film. But first, I'd like to introduce my co-hosts. Now, the story behind this was we got a transcript from this company who basically put Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia.
That's their shtick. Sorry.
Yes, that's their business model, basically, that they do transcripts for podcasts, which I guess helps, but it seems that they just put podcasts into audio text-to-speech readers, or speech-to-text, sorry, because it was terrible and it didn't work. And this person wanted $10 a month. $10 per episode, sorry.
I'll double check on that, because I'm pretty sure it was...
While you're doing that, I'll introduce you both.
It was
my first host.
a month.
Thank you. My first host is known as the Sludge Gangster. He is Evan.
Hello.
My second
Sludge Gangster now.
Sludge Gangster Evan. My other host is has been described by the text to text as beautiful best. Beautiful best Callum. Say g'day for the audience.
Good day, my audience.
Basically that's it. We've wasted.
And you are Jerry Seinfeld.
And I am Jerry Seinfeld. I am Jerry Seinfeld.
Uh-huh.
Because mate, I think we should, if we find a lull, I think we should read an excerpt from the from the transcript.
I don't want to talk too much shit in case the person who did this also watches us. But at the same time,
They seemed like a decent enough person. Like, the email was very polite.
The email was very nice, yes.
if this is the service you're offering, you may want to actually either invest in better speech-to-text software, or just do it manually, because...
I mean, I can imagine
how much of a
I
pain
can
would
imagine
that
doing
be?
it manually for our episodes would be kind of a pain, because we all talk over each other fairly often.
I know, but it'd be better than that, because reading that, I'm pretty sure, gave me dyslexia.
I've already got it.
Yeah, that's two-thirds of the show already not able to read. So
Yeah.
luckily
Kind
I'm
of-
here.
Mm-hmm. You help us through anytime we need to read. Anytime there's a bit in a movie we gotta read, you just tell us what it says.
I feel like a teacher's aide in primary school. Oh, that was me.
I
I don't like that one.
yeah.
It's fine.
All right.
As someone who had teachers' aides in primary school, I don't care.
No, they're good people.
They're very nice.
Doing God's work.
They were.
Shout,
Yeah.
shout out teachers' aides.
Mhm.
What about Tom Hanks? Are we shouting out Tom Hanks?
Shout out Tom Hanks all the time. Tom Hanks best actor. But I'll have that little spiel later. Let's talk about the Burbs.
Yes.
I really liked how we did. We read the blurb of the Inherent Vice cover, because that made no fucking sense. So let me pull out my cover of Let me pull out my copy of the Burbs, and we'll do the synopsis.
It's going to make a lot more sense than Inherent Vice.
There's actually a plot for this one, so the person writing it had something to go
Oh,
off.
can we leave them alone, please?
No. I'm not letting this go ever.
So, family man Ray Peterson, played by Tom Hanks, is looking forward to a week of putting his feet up at home in the quiet, leafy cul-de-sac of Mayfield Place. But his plans are scuppered by the arrival of new next-door neighbours, the Klopeks, whose behaviour and habits are more than just a little kooky. But things go from kooky to downright sinister when elderly neighbour Walter disappears, leading Ray and his buddies to suspect their new neighbour of foul play. Sure, the Klopeks are a strange bunch, what with their digging up the backyard in the middle of the night, but they're not devil-worshipping cannibal killers. Are they? If you're looking for a knowing slice of tongue-in-cheek terror, then look no further than The Burbs, a standout horror comedy from a director who has given us more than his fair share of fun frighteners. The Burbs assembles a superb cast including Tom Hanks, Bruce Dern, Carrie Fisher, and Corey Feldman in a tall tale of small-town terror. You'll never look at your neighbours in the same way again. Now, I think that was very well written, because before the show, Callum, you brought up that this definitely has themes of Cold War suspicion.
As I was watching it, I'm like, this is just an allegory for Cold War paranoia. Like, so the Cold War ended in, I think, 91 officially, and this was made in 89. So it's definitely made in that period where everyone was like, "You're not American. You're clearly different to us." And that was just my first thought when I was watching this. I'm like, "This is."
Sorry for that delay. We had a bit of a technical issue. That's the issue with filming over Discord and all that. People just randomly fucking come into the call, which was our fault. We should have gone into the secured call, but
Into the secured vault.
the secured vault, yeah, the situation room as we call it.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right.
we're back now. Where were we?
We're talking about the Burbs, the film for this week.
Oh yeah, it's our Cold War hysteria.
Yes. I think I pretty much made my point on it. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a great movie as well. A lot of fun, actually. Although I didn't really like anyone in it. I don't know. I found
What do you mean?
I enjoy this movie, but I didn't like anybody
Well,
in
you
it.
can like the movie and the plot and stuff that happens, but then I just found every character but Tom Hanks to be like, ugh. And Carrie, I like Carrie Fisher as well.
I think that's kind of annoying. I think the point of them is to be irritating because they're all fucking up his holiday.
Especially Art.
His
Art
vacation.
was the worst character. Like, it opens, he's in Ray's garden shooting Ray's stuff, and then goes in, eats the food that Ray's wife made for Ray.
Carol, played by Carol Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
And he's just
The character was Carol.
he's just munching
know.
the sausages. He's eating Ray's eggs. Like, come on, bro. Just because your wife isn't there, can you not make food for yourself?
No, I think Art played Art's character was basically the stereotype of the user neighbor, of the neighbor who kind of makes himself welcome in people's houses, which is well versed in like American TV and culture.
I think that's why I didn't get it, because we're not in America.
Oh, but no, it's similar to Seinfeld and all that, and what else?
Everybody loves Raymond.
Everybody loves Raymond. Yeah, the parents always coming over, even though it's like their children's house, but still. But yeah, like Kramer. If you watch F is for Family, the character Goom.
Oh, Goomba.
Goomer, who's like a fucking serial killer or something, or
Yeah,
just
but,
weird.
yeah, but Goomba takes it to the next level and just wears Frank's clothes. And
He
it's
just wears people's clothes
he's
and like
just
eats their food and
weird.
answers their phone.
he
as
makes,
if it was
he's,
them.
He's not the what did you call it? What kind of neighbor? Who like goes
He's not a user neighbor. He's more like a
sociopath.
yeah. Kind of. I don't think he's a sociopath. I think he's just not. He's not that bright.
He's just not all there upstairs.
No, definitely
The
not.
lights are on, but no one's home. What did you think of this movie, Evan?
I liked it. Yeah, no, this is the kind of movie that I like. It's not my main, forte of movies that I watch, but when it comes to like movies like this, like I'm trying to think of a way to describe them, like 80s adult comedies that are also okay for kids. Like, oh shit, no, they're more for kids, but also good for adults, like The Goonies or
Yeah.
House. Movies that kind of skirt the line of being horror movies that are still kind of appropriate for kids and adults.
There is a fucking Jesus Christ. There's a loud as car outside my house. That is.
We can't hear
We
it.
should call this
In the
episode
slide- in the slides.
the distraction episode, the inconvenient episode.
No, because I can
Podcasters interrupt us.
I can see it on the waveform and it's fucking shitting me.
I can't even.
I
okay.
can't hear it either.
You probably won't hear it in the when I balance the audio.
Yes,
Have you
let's not
noticed
bring
that
it up.
everyone on this street is an actual Karen? Everyone's got a
nosy. Complaint.
Everyone.
Yeah, everyone's nosy.
Everyone's the.
Because Art kind of leads it. Art definitely leads the witch hunt almost.
It's like, dude, they're just living there. They're just trying to live their life. The dude's a doctor. Like, yeah, the guy, what was it, Hans? Yeah, he looks a little bit weird, but come on.
There was
I think
Hans.
the
There
main-
was I think Dunn was the other one's name. No, Quinn.
Which one? The
Wasn't it
guy played by Theodore Gottlieb.
No, that was the doctor. There was there was the redheaded the one who answers the door, that gets out the who's
Hans,
first seen, and he gets the paper.
Walter
And then there's the little old man.
Walter Sesnick. I think it's
Snesnik.
Ruben. Is that his name?
Yeah, Ruben. That's it, Ruben.
Yeah.
Because Bruce Dern's character like fucking hates him when they go to his house.
He's just interrogating him.
He's just hounding him constantly.
He's like, have you got anyone tied in the basement? Like, dude.
And the old man just walks around like, no.
It's like, yeah.
I thought they were like they were clearly like German or like definitely foreigners. So I was like, it's a bit mean. Just come in and just because they talk differently.
Yeah,
the guy's just sitting there. It's like, he's one of the Reds.
Well,
Bruce. Mr. Winsfield, who was Bruce Dern's character. He was definitely. Him and Art were definitely the worst ones. In the street.
And then Tom Hanks.
That's kind of the point. That
please, I just want to relax, please.
That's one of the things I love about this. Tom Hanks is
so
with
done.
Everyone's shit.
He's so done.
This is the only movie I've seen where he raised his voice, and he doesn't just raise his voice. He has full on he loses his mind. He just has full on tantrums because everyone just pisses him off.
Oh, it's similar. It's similar to Woody in Toy Story when he has his blow ups.
Yeah, almost. It was
because
almost the same.
Because when the dog Vince finds the femur bone and gives when he passes the note and he tells Ray he's sitting on his lawn chair and he's like, oh no, I wasn't taking a nap, my eyes weren't closed, that's fine. Sure, just interrupt me. And then when he says like, oh, I left a note, and because they also left a note at the old man's house, at Walter's house, and he's like, they're just gonna blame me, and he goes, no, they're not, and then they throw the note over the wall, and he just has like a fucking meltdown, like he scrunches the cans.
Scream.
Yeah, that was a good shot. I liked how the camera just like kept shaking back and forth.
I can't imagine how many takes they did of that. Like, I feel like
they had fun with it. I can tell everyone had fun on this set.
Yeah, this is one of those movies where you could tell everybody had a great time.
Do you know Wendy Schaal does the voice of Francine in American Dad?
Really?
Yes. She's the mum in American Dad.
Huh. That's pretty cool.
I haven't seen enough American Dad to know that.
Let's talk about how much of a perv that little Corey Feldman character is.
I hated Ricky Butler. He was the worst character. He's just like
Ricky Butler from up the street.
He's like, I love this neighborhood. And it's like, it's not that interesting.
I love that fourth wall break at the end of the movie.
When he just stares into the camera.
Yeah, he's like, man, I love this movie. And then I love this neighborhood, sorry. And I'm just like, oh, what is this?
He was insufferable.
It's real.
Like, I've talked about this with my mums a fair bit, about how, like, kids in movies are either, like, charming and, like, they add to the plot, or they're just really, really irritating. And he fits in the really irritating. He fits in the short round category of irritating for me.
Oh, I like short round.
I like short round.
Short round's funny.
No, short round's annoying.
He's not annoying. I love short round.
I think it's probably because you share similarities, Callum. That's why I don't like
you. How am I similar? How am I similar to short round?
I thought he said ow, not how.
I'm not. No, don't worry about it. Forget it. Yeah, all the because how many neighbors were there? There was Walter. There was the Winsfields.
Walter.
I couldn't tell whether whether Bruce Dern and Wendy Shaw's character were like father and daughter or.
No, they were definitely a couple.
Yeah, it's weird because he's like 50 something and she looks like 25.
And he keeps calling Walter that old man. Like
the old man is like, mate, you're not far off.
Thinning like grey hair.
I will say one of my favorite moments is like after I think Ray's first or second freak out, his wife basically locks him upstairs, and then Art and I can't remember, and Bruce Dern's character's Winsfield comes to the lawn. Is like, oh, can Ray come out?
I wrote down a quote from that.
Yeah,
he can't come out until he resembles the man that I married. I thought that was funny. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, and then they walk away, and like Art's like kicking his feet, and they look like little kids. And then they go and do the ding dong ditch thing, and they leave the note, which was also stupid because the note, when he tells Ray, he's like, oh, the note says, I know what you did, which was incredibly, just such a bad thing to do. Like,
so
if you open the door, if you find a note outside your door and it says, "I know what you did," it's like, first off, who put it there? Secondly, no, you don't. Like, what? It's like who did this come from?
I really like the humor.
Oh, the humor's great.
It was pretty.
I love the last
humor I
freak
like.
out
Pardon?
when he talks about how much of a shithead Art is after the house blows up
Oh, when he
and
was,
he's standing.
I thought that was well deserved. I'm like, can you just
Yeah.
knock his lights out, please? 'Cause
Yeah, he's like,
Art
you're
deserved it.
the reason. We're the what did he say? He said we're
We're the psychos.
we're the crazy
Yeah,
ones.
we're the psychos or something.
That I actually really liked that. That was a good moment.
This is the kind of humor in a movie that I like, where it's not outright like, oh, joke, punchline, pause for time for you to laugh now. It's just like really quick, like offhand comments in dialogue that you can miss if you're not paying enough attention. You know what I mean? That's kind of humor I really like. Like when Ray and Art are talking, I can't remember what conversation they were having. No, it's when Ray's saying he should have gone to the lake. And he's like, I should listen to Carol. Art goes, listen to your wife who listens to their wife.
Yeah.
that got a good chuckle out of me.
When he's like, I need to talk to the boys, and then they're in like the office, and he goes, how about you take your balls out of your wife's handbag?
And then he pulls up the pant leg and starts reaching into his underpants.
He's like, whoa, it's just a phrase, man.
He was just like, I didn't mean it. It literally pulls out the toupee. It was just like, I love that stare that he has when he looks out the window, and it zooms in on his eyes, and his eyes are just like shot open, and he's like, I'm going in there, and I'm not leaving until I find a dead body. I'm like, well, he's lost the plot. Because as much as Tom Hanks plays like, he's well known for like the lovable hero of Woody. A lot of his and he's in like Turner and Hooch, Forrest Gump. They're all like lovable, characters that you feel for. Ray's also kind of a bit of a dick.
I felt sorry for him.
Like when Art calls him chicken in front of his son and he just starts shoving him. He gets like really aggressive. I thought that was pretty funny. I was just like, this guy's a bit, Or when he goes out,
him and his wife are always arguing.
Oh
too.
yeah, he's so mean to the wife.
Two things.
Just scream at each other.
I noticed two things. One, every single pair of sunglasses in this movie is Ray-Bans. I don't know. I don't know, something.
That's probably because
It's the 80s.
No, it's actually 89.
Yeah.
So it probably would have been the end. So like, yeah, it similar to Bill and Ted. It's like the shift of that generation.
Yeah, probably.
So obviously the fashion would have changed over.
And this
apparently
you go.
I was gonna say apparently Tom. I'm probably stealing what you were about to say, but I think apparently Tom Hanks bought everyone sunglasses.
Oh,
Everyone in
what
the
a
cast
champion!
Oh, good on him.
because he had fun. So much fun doing
The
the
second
movie.
thing I noticed, this is just relates to last week, but this is the second film. Well, 2 weeks in a row, we've watched a film that in that film, Texas Chainsaw Massacre has played.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
right.
He was really enjoying Texas Chainsaw Massacre, wasn't he?
It was the second one, actually.
Oh, was it this? Was it?
I don't mean to screw up our little.
You don't mean to be like, yeah, that's correction. It's actually Texas.
Pushes glasses up nose.
Yeah.
He does like the anime thing where his lenses turn all white. He's like, actually.
That is
I thought
me.
that was
Or there's a
pretty
movie
cool.
reference.
I was like, so maybe next week we should do Texas Chainsaw.
No,
I think we
Evan
should
wants to do Texas Chainsaw 4 with Matthew McConaughey.
No, I don't. I want to do 2 because everyone's done 1. 4 is a shit movie except for Matthew McConaughey.
What's that noise he makes, Evan? Do the noise.
I can't do the noise. Where he jumps on the car.
Doesn't he go like, right?
He goes like, "Boo!"
He goes like,
jumps on the car.
"Boo."
I can't even imitate it.
Actually, I'll play the clip and I'll find it. You guys talk amongst
Is
yourselves.
2 the best one?
No, the first one is a masterpiece of horror cinema. It's just perfect in
I've
every
only
way.
seen the first one,
But the
and what I got from it is that because it doesn't really show much on-screen violence. Like it's
Yeah.
all really implied, and that's what I really like about that movie. About how it's horrifying because it's all in your mind. I don't know if that sounds
like it
cliche.
mostly came that. It's the same. It's the kind of Jaws thing where you don't see the shark till the end because the animatronic fucked up.
I
Same thing
found
with Chainsaw Massacre.
I found the sound clip. It's like he's jumping from a roof to a car and he goes like, boo! And like, he rolls over when he lands.
Are you gonna? You should play it in the edit.
I will. I'll play it now actually. So. Ah,
But yeah,
that's pretty funny. Glad we played that. You know.
yeah, pretty fun.
Fuck
Anyway.
off, whatever.
No, seriously, that clip fucking kills me every time I see it. What was I saying? I can't remember.
If we ever get big enough to afford to afford like a soundboard, we'll have that as one of them.
I was planning on getting a soundboard last year. There's a thing called like the Rode Podcaster or something, or it's called the Rode Podcaster, and it's this big board that you can get and plug all like these headphones into and stuff. But it would only work if we were all in the same room.
Yeah, we can't because of COVID.
Well, if we're not in a pandemic situation next year.
Yeah, exactly.
Then
Hopefully we have enough. We have budget for more shit.
I'd love it if we could actually one day record all in the same room, because you think that we riff while we're on Discord, you should see us riffing in person.
Yes.
Yes. We are like improv.
We're
group.
so funny.
Guys, we are so funny. Oh my
I think
god.
we're the funniest people in the world, actually.
We're also not film bros. You know, as much as we talk about film and we're like, if you haven't seen this movie, what is wrong with you? We're definitely
Guys,
not
we're
film
really not film bros.
You haven't watched
trust
True
us.
Detective? How about you go fuck yourself?
I haven't seen True Detective.
I haven't either. I've got
Either.
season 1 and 2 on my shelf, but I still haven't watched it.
Anyway, I had a point I was going off on before. We got sidetracked. Matthew McConaughey. Oh yeah, Texas Chainsaw. Fuck. Shut up. What I was saying was like, because you mentioned that there's not actually that much on-screen violence or anything like that. It's all in your mind. It's kind of the Jaws effect, where the reasoning behind that was because the animatronic was fucking up. Because of their low budget, they couldn't afford, heaps of makeup and effects and stuff like that. So they just like put together what they can, and it worked in the movie's favor massively. Because Texas Chainsaw is just so intense, especially in the last 20 minutes.
Absolutely.
It's
terrifying.
It just doesn't let up. Yeah, it's just it's to this day one of the most effective horror films I've seen. One of the very few to actually like.
What, Jaws?
Not scare me. No, Texas Chainsaw.
Oh.
Not scare me, but like, I don't know, just give you that weird feeling when it's over.
It takes a lot for me to get actually scared from a horror movie or something. So when I was watching that, I was like, I wasn't scared, but I was like, you're on the edge of your seat, like, you want the main characters to get out of there and stuff.
Now, on the other hand, I think Toby Hooper realized it would be a massive challenge to try and outdo the original. So he did the smartest thing, I think, and went completely differently. Completely different tonally in the second film into being a dark comedy. And I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's absolutely fucking off. It's fucking mental. It's mental.
Is it kind of like what did we watch? We watched.
What would you rather do, Evan? Texas Chainsaw 2 or Exorcist 3?
I want to save Exorcist 3 for when we can watch movies together, because I want to see your live reactions to it.
Oh, if we end up doing the Podbean recording thing.
Yeah.
Is it?
Because there's so many movies that I like when it's my turn to pick. I'm like, I want to do that one, but I want to see Seb and Callan's live reactions to it.
Is it on the same level as horror comedy as Return of the Living Dead?
It's a different kind of comedy, where like Return of the Living Dead has that similar kind of thing that I mentioned before, where there's a lot of like subtle lines that you can miss and things like that.
I feel like Living Dead has moments where like you're meant to laugh, or like it's open to laugh. I feel like with something of like The Exorcist, I don't think you're meant to laugh. Or
No.
it's not intended that you've laughed, but due to like tastes and all that changing, I think you end up laughing.
I think The Exorcist is still effective. It's not the scariest movie of all time, like people say, but I think it's still
I've
pretty
never watched
effective.
any
the
of the
first one?
Exorcist movies.
Me neither.
The first and the third are still phenomenal.
Funny enough, he was watching The Exorcist as well. Ray was watching The Exorcist on his TV.
Oh, was he?
He was, yes.
Yeah, when the little girl spits vomit out, that's from The Exorcist.
I was stretching while I was watching this movie, so I probably missed it.
I really.
They also mentioned.
Yeah, go on.
You go on. No, you go. You go on.
No, I was gonna say that blank stare he had in his face while he was watching horror movies was a bit unsettling.
Or the nightmare that he had. That was disturbing.
I kind of related to that. Not the nightmare, the blank stare. It reminded me of me when I'm watching movies. That's the look I have.
He just looked like a zombie.
Yeah, that's
But you
pretty
can tell
much
that
what I
he's
look
just
like
had
when I'm watching.
enough. He's like, please,
anything.
I can't. No more. No more art. No more Ricky, please. No more Bruce Dern.
That last blow up when he yelled at Art, and he's just like, I was like, oh, because I could tell he actually felt like guilty when it turns out when the cops are like, oh, he's actually like a very respected doctor and all that, and he's just like, oh, I've made a severe lapse of judgment.
If you think if you think about it though, like so right at the end, we're spoiling this movie, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we spoil every movie.
Well, so like, because how it turns out that it was real. So like, the doctor is in the ambulance and he's about to kill Ray, and then they crash, and then
they crash into Art's house,
and then they roll out on the trolley, on the stretcher, and then the bonnet opens up of the doctor's car, and there's all these bones in it. And so then,
which Ricky Butler somehow finds.
Yeah, well then they're like,
and he's there to deliver the punchline.
And then they're like, oh look, he's clearly guilty. And then it's like, yeah, he's guilty, but you're both probably going in prison together. You can't just walk off and go on holiday right at the end, like poetically, because like he still blew up a man's house. No matter if that man was a murderer, he still broke into his house and blew it up.
Well, I think it's because they're all involved.
So they're all going to prison.
Ruben, the doctor, and Hans, they were all involved. So I think they're all definitely going to prison.
Pretty much every character.
So I think the fact that because he did that and Ray was proven innocent, I think it kind of cancels it out.
I don't think that's how the law. I don't think that's how the law works.
Yeah, well, this is a movie, Callum. This is a movie.
Look, I'm just saying. Maybe I'm nitpicking here.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
I think you are. But yeah, funny enough, this came out after Big, which you could debate is probably one of his bigger films, but apparently no. Splash was his breakout role, but I'm yet to see that, but I will watch it sometime soon. But this was the same year that he also did Turner and Hooch, so it was in that period of time where he was just smashing movies out, like, constantly.
Whereas, not just any movie, you're just smashing out classic after classic.
Yeah, just Turner and Hooch, Big, The Burbs.
The Money Pit.
Yeah, Money Pit, all of them. He was just smashing them out of the park.
Tom Hanks is in the
Bachelor Party.
Yes, did you not know that? Tom Hanks is the lead.
I used to... No, because... The Money Pit was one of those movies that I used to watch over and over when I was younger, and I haven't seen it since then. And I never even realized it was Tom Hanks, because obviously I was too young at the time to notice that, to process that.
Mm.
And I just didn't realize because I hadn't.
I was watching
revisited the movie recently.
I was watching clips of it on YouTube, like when the bath falls through the floor.
That's what I remember mostly from.
And
the
he
movie,
just looks at it and he just starts laughing maniacally. Because he's like, because there's nothing you can do. Like, his kitchen almost blew up, and then the tub fell through, and he's just looking at it, and he's so like done. He's so exhausted mentally and physically that he just decides to explode with laughter, and it's this really like cackle laugh almost too. It's like he's clearly lost it. He doesn't find this amusing. It's just like a noise that he has to make to express how he's feeling. Well, that's definitely a movie that that's another movie I wanna watch soon, because I feel like I have a growing collection of Tom Hanks films.
Well, now you've brought it up, I do want to revisit it more.
I've never seen it.
Maybe that's a future pick.
I'm looking through Tom Hanks's IMDb.
All bangers, all of them.
Did you know that he was in a Carly Rae Jepsen music video?
Yes. Yes, I do, because I saw that one.
I Really Like You, and he played a guy named Tom.
Yeah, he was like he
What?
does like the lip sync for it. It's him like he's driving in a car, like he goes to the supermarket. It's hilarious.
I never knew this existed.
I think he's my favorite actor of all time.
Oh, it's edited into College Humor Originals.
Yuck.
Eesh, college humor. Yucky.
So right, okay, well, that's kind of cool.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
You're Richard Hammond.
He was in Cars.
That's the.
And
yeah.
he voiced the Woody car, apparently.
Yeah.
I
Well,
didn't know that there was a Woody car.
Neither did I.
neither did I actually either.
I'm
No.
gonna look it up.
So anyway, well, while we're here, Evan, what do you think of was another funny moment. I loved when what was his name? Bruce Dern's like on the roof doing recon for the house, and
Corey Feldman just yells.
Corey
at him,
Feldman
he
just
falls off the roof.
surprises him, and he ends up like falling off his roof. Like
He doesn't just fall off the roof. He trips over. He slides down. He lands on the second floor like window.
like
Oh,
the
sorry, the first
upstairs.
floor.
Yeah,
Yeah, the upstairs like balcony, and then he falls down, and then he smashes on the ground.
like lands ass first onto the grass.
I've fallen from maybe like, I don't know, 3 meters up, which is maybe half that height, and I've landed on my bottom, and I remember my spine hurting for like 3 weeks after. I can't imagine how sore he would have been.
Yeah, no, this is another step down from yours. You know when fucking people, you go sit down in the chair and then fucking assholes like they yank the chair out from behind you and you're sitting down.
I didn't do that at all when I was a kid. No, I didn't.
Yeah, of course
I
you
wouldn't.
fucking would.
Jesus.
Now some kid did that to me in primary school, and it was one of the office chairs, and so I fell, and I like landed with my tailbone on like one of the struts for one of the wheels.
Oh.
Just from like sitting down and missing the chair height, and that fucked my spine for a solid like day or two.
Oh.
Let alone falling off a roof like that.
Yeah, that's stuff like that is just dumb. But it's funny because he ends up getting up and just walking
And
away
then,
like
and
nothing
then all
happened.
of Ricky's friends are like, "Whoa, that was totally awesome, dude." I hated how they spoke.
Because he's a Vietnam vet. He's toughest son of a bitch.
Like when he
on
puts
Earth.
Hans in a headlock.
Yes, Corey Feldman, the Vietnam vet, Corey
No,
Feldman.
I meant
Like when he
Bruce
puts
Dern.
Hans in a headlock.
You know who I meant.
And he's
Yes,
like,
I know.
I spent 2 weeks in the Vietnamese tundra. I could break your neck if I wanted to. Like, jeez.
Yeah.
All right. Kid's probably a bit traumatized.
I love the Vietnam vet as like an archetype of character.
Yeah.
Like no matter what kind of movie they're in, like it's like my main thing. Obviously, you know, I love vigilante movies and grindhouse cinema where, you know, it's the Vietnam vet who's had enough of crime or something like that, or they've got, you know, they brought back issues and they're, you know, back into starting a new war back home.
Yeah.
Something like that. But it's a character archetype that works in so many different ways aside from, you know, serious stuff like that. Because, like, in this, there's a lot of stuff to poke fun at. And I think that kind of also, now that I'm thinking about it, it also plays into the whole Cold War paranoia thing that you guys mentioned before. It kind of fits in.
Yeah.
When was the
definitely-
Vietnam War? 70,
60, 63, I
55
think.
to
60.
75.
It
I
was a
don't think
long
it
as war.
as early as the 50s.
Yeah, so
I think it
I
was
mean,
the
there was-
60s.
There was shit.
the
There was shit going on in the 50s, but it wasn't like official with America's
conflict in
involvement
Vietnam,
until the
Laos,
60s.
Cambodia.
The Vietnam War, also known as the Second Indochina War, and the Vietnam as the Resistance War against America, or simply the American War, was a conflict in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia from 1st of November 1955 to the fall of Saigon on the 30th of April 1975.
Yeah.
I don't know. Every time I hear the word Saigon, I always think of like three things: Fortunate Son, those like very skinny attack helicopters, and I always think of Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen.
I think
When he goes, I got a picture of her in Saigon. Now, that's the only bit I know, but I'm like, born in the... Yeah, it's a good song anyway. Listen
Fortunate
to it.
Son is the Vietnam is the Vietnam War's like theme song.
Tying it back to Tom Hanks, they played "Fortunate Son" when Forrest and Bubba go to Vietnam when they go to war.
Of course they did.
Because the iconic song of the Vietnam
the
War.
soundtrack for Forrest Gump.
It's a good soundtrack.
It is. It's so big that it even came in 2 parts on 2 discs.
Do you reckon when they fly to Vietnam in a plane in like a commercial air flight, they have "Fortunate Son"?
I hope so.
Like it's just like, passengers, please fasten your seatbelts. We're ready for landing. It's like
As you
Some
walk
folks
off
will-
the plane, it's like in slow mo, and you put your aviators on, and you're like, Saigon. What's it called now? It's not Saigon anymore, is it?
No, you can't call
It's
it
Ho Chi
Saigon.
Minh. It's Ho Chi Minh City
So
now.
you go, Ho Chi Minh City.
Look, if I was a pilot, that's what I'd do.
Have you seen the Five Bloods?
You-
Because that's a
have
good
not.
Vietnam film. That's
No, you
not.
brought
See,
you
I was-
brought that up a few episodes ago, actually, when we did Black
I
Klansman.
did. It's a
I was interested in seeing it when I heard it was about or related to Vietnam, and then I saw it was directed by Spike Lee, and I was like, oh.
He's a good director, and I think that film kind of went a bit under everyone's radar because it was like a Netflix exclusive, and also because of the whole
Look,
end of the world going on right now. But it's good. It's Chadwick Boseman's one of his last movies.
I didn't know he was in it.
played someone who I can't tell you anything about because that'll spoil it.
Okay, fair enough. No, I was like, I said this one in the episode about Black Klansman. I don't think Spike Lee's talentless. He's a talented filmmaker. I just don't often really have much of an interest in his work. You know, Black Klansman I think was a rare exception. But just overall, I mean, maybe I might enjoy his films if I decide to sit down and watch them more than I think I will. But like,
Well, one day I'm gonna get the Criterion copy of Do the Right Thing because I'm looking forward to that. I just need a region-free player because I don't think Criterion released it in the UK.
no, they didn't.
No.
From memory.
Is it possible to? You might know this, Evan. Is it possible to region unlock your own player?
You can, but you gotta fuck around with it. Now that's the thing with that's the reason I haven't got a 4K player yet, even though I have a fair few 4K movies, because I want to get one that's region free so I can play all my current American Blu-rays on there and allow them to be upscaled. But I don't think any of the players have that feature by default. None that
Is
are out
your
right
TV 4K?
now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just cheap. It's a cheap one, but like, you know, the 4K TV is a 4K
when
TV.
I was watching that, I was like, "Jeez, this is a nice TV." Whew.
Yeah, it's pretty. I got it from Aldi of all places.
Why don't you just get a 4K player and
Fuck
then?
around with the oldie TV.
Why don't you just get a 4K player and then unlock it yourself?
Well, I don't trust myself to do it. It's like you know, it's not that hard to put together a PC, but I don't trust myself to do it without fucking it up. Maybe I'll look into it. Maybe I will. I don't know. I found a company on
Make
eBay
it a
that does
boys
it.
project.
But
Get a couple of beers going. Just unlock a DVD player. I'm sure it's fine.
I don't trust you drunk with power tools.
I don't trust you drunk. Period.
No.
In my house. Period.
I don't see why.
Is that your formal way of saying don't ever come over again?
No, I don't mind as long as you don't break anything. I will say I was on edge on that night we were drinking. I was like, please don't break something. Please don't break something.
Oh, I could tell. I kept looking at you, and you just looked like you just kept looking confused. You were like,
You were looking at me like Tom Hanks was looking at the TV, just like, oh no, please no.
And then we all T-posed when the Russian national anthem played because
No, we didn't T-pose. We all saluted.
We saluted.
Oh, we all saluted, yeah, because we're all fucking idiots.
We were drunk, okay? Who doesn't get drunk and salute at the Soviet
Especially Dolph
USSR
Lundgren.
theme?
Gotta love Dolph
Exactly.
Lundgren,
He's not even Russian.
the man with the iron jaw. No, he's Swedish.
Yeah, when I found that out, I was like, wow, that's wacky.
Traitor
Doesn't he
just
have-
fucking swings the power pole.
Doesn't he have a PhD in like
Oh, he's
chemistry or something?
He's fucking smart ass.
What? I'm gonna look this
Yeah.
up.
He's got like a PhD or a master's or something.
I
chemistry.
I can just imagine behind the scenes because this was like during Stallone's cocky period.
I think it was the beginning of his cocky period, I reckon.
Oh, yeah, where he did. Like, you were telling me a story about how he was on a podcast with that Scott Adkins bloke,
Yeah.
And he was like, Stallone would be like, hit me, and then he'd hit him, and then he'd be like, I can fire you, don't hit me again. And Dolph was
Yeah.
like, the fuck? No, what?
What do you want? Make up your mind.
There's also like a very famous story about how he said to Dolph Lundgren, he's like, oh, you can hit me as hard as you want, it's fine. And he ends up being put in the hospital for like 4 days.
Yeah.
Oh wow, he
gets-
studied at the University of Sydney. Here,
Yeah, he was in.
that's so
Yeah.
cool.
I think.
Can you imagine
what-
fucking Dolph Lundgren walking around a bunch of Australians? Like a giant Swedish man just walking around like these, because obviously Australians sometimes aren't that tall. So like just seeing them, just like watching this towering, chiseled Swedish man,
Was he chiseled at that time?
and then later seeing him, probably,
Yeah, I reckon.
and then later seeing him fight Rocky as a Russian, you'd be like, crazy times, crazy times.
What year was he? Was it when he was in the university? Did it say?
1982. So when was Rocky 4?
I was gonna say because I know they shot the Punisher movie that he was in.
Rocky 4 was 1985.
Oh, so three
Okay,
years
not
after
far
you
off.
saw him studying with you, you saw him fight Rocky as a Russian.
Yeah, so I was gonna say because they shot the Punisher film that he was in I think either Sydney or the Gold Coast or both. So I was gonna say if that was around the same time, then that makes sense, but it wasn't because they shot that in '89, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Is that Punisher? Wow, there's been a lot of Punisher movies. There's
Not that
there's
many. There's-
the Punisher
there's th-
show,
There's
the
3.
Punisher movie, Punisher Warzone, and then the Punisher.
Which one had John
Yeah.
Travolta?
Wars-
The one with the Tom Jane one, the 2004 one.
Is that one good?
Yeah, I like
Is
it a lot.
Punisher Warzone
That's one of those
directed
movies-
by that female director who's like really into making movies as violent as possible? Yeah,
I don't know
Lexi
who you're talking
Alexander.
about, but if is it?
Yeah, apparently Punisher Warzone was like overly violent, and someone was like, interviewing her at the time, and they're like, "Why is Punisher Warzone so violent?" She's like, "I don't know. I
'Cause
I
it's
just
fun,
like violence."
Because it's so much fun, Jan.
Well, she sounds like a legend, and I'm gonna check out other movies she's done.
What a great
she,
quote.
She directed Foolproof. That. Oh wait, what? Not the Ryan Reynolds one.
She directed the Taken TV series, at least part of it anyway.
Taken had a TV series.
Oh, John Travolta wasn't even the Punisher. That's disappointing.
No, he was the main bad guy.
Was he a good
Oh.
bad guy?
He was. He was pretty good. I like that Punisher movie. I don't care what anyone says.
I wanted to see the Punisher hit Grease Lightning.
You do. Don't
You
worry.
can just see his grease car as he's flying away into the distance. The Punisher just like turns out he's in the boot and just tears his head off or something.
Pulls out an RPG.
I don't know what the Punisher would do. I've never seen anything he's in.
He
Probably
shoots
just
people.
shoot him.
I want to read the Punisher 2099 comics. They look pretty cool. Anything from the Marvel 2099 line looks pretty cool.
Well, he
want-
becomes Ghost Rider.
Oh, what?
If you want to read the best Punisher stuff, you got to read the Punisher Max series.
Read Ghost Rider 2099 because that's pretty good. It's like Frank Castle looks after a baby Thanos.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's so weird.
I don't know. When they start involving like all the other Marvel characters, I start to lose interest. Which is why I like Max so much because it's its own grounded story separate from all the other.
Fucking
Marvel
hell, we
things.
really got far from the Burbs, didn't we?
I really liked it.
We
I
didn't
really
even
liked it when the
talk.
Punisher became War Machine. That seemed like the perfect combination.
Yeah, that's great. I love stuff like that. I love, but it's just when it's like he's there and like every other hero is just there, and it's just like okay. I don't know. I just lose interest.
I love when
Like
I love when Tom Hanks dreamed that he was on a barbecue. That was fun, ain't it? Hey, that was
When I
fun.
first saw Walter in this movie, I thought he was.
When I was
I
a
thought
boy,
he was a literal
Yeah.
cartoon character.
Who's Walter
he's just so
again?
campy. The old man with the dog.
I thought he was
Yeah.
like this guy wearing a bow tie, being like, "Oh, Queenie," like
Yeah, he's incredibly
I just thought
campy.
he was just like a what was the company who directed who made the Flintstones and Jetsons and stuff? I thought he was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon come to life.
Well, wasn't he meant to be gay? Because I swear when Ray and all that break into his house, he goes like, I really didn't think we'd break into a gay man's house. Or like Art says something about that. He might not have said that. I might have misheard it, but I was just like, oh Jesus, come on.
I mean, I know that Art was just stealing his stuff.
I love when Art holds the plate like of food, and then Ricky comes in and fucking smashes the kitchen door open and just breaks the plate. Oh, I was dying. That was fucking hilarious. Because he's like, oh, might as well eat. And he just boof, and the plate goes everywhere.
And then Ray's like, all right, that's enough. I've had it. And you can just see that he just snaps.
Yeah, he's just like, all right, everybody out. Everybody get out. We've broken. Because Ray's kind of like the only one who does the right thing.
Tries to
in everything.
Anyway.
He tries to, yeah.
He's the only one who's like, these people are just different. Just leave them alone.
He's the skeptic.
As Ricky.
Yeah,
as
he was
Ricky
always the
described
skeptic.
Yeah.
I
I saw on the cast list that Dick Miller was in it, but he's always someone who I love his cameos.
Who was he in this?
Man.
He was the garbage man.
Which garbage man was he? Was he the older one or the younger one?
He was the older one.
Is he like what does he do? Is he like a character actor or something?
Yeah, he's in Gremlins. He's the guy who has the snow.
Oh, he's in Terminator.
What do you call him? Yeah, he's like gun store owner in Terminator.
It's called his character name is Pawn Shop Clerk. I'll have you know.
Oh, okay, sorry. Just what you see, pal.
What, in the Burbs?
No, in Terminator.
No, in Terminator.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in heaps of movies. He's in so many different things, just in small roles, just showing up.
Howling.
Yeah.
Howling 2, Werewolf Bitch. That one.
No. It's a good one though. Should be. That's a drunk movie night pick for sure.
Howling 2, Werewolf Bitch.
Because that movie is a hoot. A hoot. Also, the music in it. That's the fucking song. They have one song that I think they got some band to make for the movie, and they play it constantly.
As in the Burbs?
No, in Howling 2. And it's just that song is stuck in my head. It's good.
I feel like I figured
catchy.
out the title for this episode. It's going to be The Burbs, Dolph Lundgren, and other technical issues.
Oh, I was writing down all the things we talked about. I was Burbs, Cold War, Texas Chainsaw, and horror.
Was that all you took from this conversation?
Well, you gotta get the key points.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Anyway, well now we've almost hit.
Oh no!
50
Anyway.
minutes.
Oh
anyway. No! Anyway. Oh, let's do an excerpt. Let's read an excerpt from the transcript. Actually,
it's gonna kill my brain's gonna.
I can't read it
implode.
properly. All the word when things are written that badly, my brain just can't.
When things are written
It's
badly.
hard enough to read it as it is.
I don't think that's your dyslexia. I think it's just how that's written because I can't read it either. It hurts my eyes.
All right,
Beautiful
well,
Best is our Callum. Want me to do that?
Let me download it.
Just go to the.
That's
email.
because you wanted me to do the Philip DeFranco intro last week.
Oh yeah.
It's a good paragraph. Okay.
I don't want to hear this again. It's gonna kill me.
Let me find. Because some of it makes sense.
Just enough of it makes sense to know what part of the conversation we were at.
Episode and they just leave. Shut up, Evan. Welcome.
Wait, where's Sludge Gangster? Because that'll give like. Oh, here we go.
Read the context of it.
I'll read from the start. So, it says, hang on.
Professional as
real
always.
good. That's what people want to hear when they've turned their Spotify up to maximum volume and listening to our podcast. Go on.
Fuck you, both of you.
Go on.
I edit this shit. I do all the work.
I publish it.
So, you upload a file and click publish.
And?
That's it.
And? I've done a lot of the socials. I bought us an ad Well, I mean, I didn't actually have to pay anything.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, let me read it before you fucking start having a whatever. So, beautiful best is our Callum. Actually, I'll read it as it's grammatically done.
Read
Cause
it like you're
hell.
opening the episode as well.
Beautiful best is our Callum. Want me to do that? I didn't want to do that. Welcome back to Rewind. Rental where the grids start, and then it just says inaudible. Episode, and they just leave. Shut up. Evan, welcome. Back to Rewind Rental episode 9. We're talking about Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, or is it bad to say Don Coughlin? That's just not the name. So that I have no fucking idea what happens in this movie, because it was like 30 different synopsises on the website I've locked up, so it's Evan's pick this week. So Evan, bring in a scene with a synopsis. It's very simple, straightforward plot. I don't know why you struggle with it. So basically, this Mexican dude and pregnant to the daughter of a wealthy landowner's sludge gangster. And obviously, he is not too fond of that. So he says a bounty on whoever can bring the head of this man to him dead. So it wasn't $1 million, it was like 10,000, wasn't it? And it was $1 million, was it? What is it? The boundary, which is $1 million. There is the guy who got a man who bring me the hair off, ready to go see, you know? Oh, well, there you go. I'll just say it anyway, but but his side men gave big teeth man and got 10 grand. So basically, Benny the jet. Let me finish, alright? So basically, to hit men, go out looking around Mexico and asking people around, and they happen to come across a piano player in a bar. Benny played a war on oats who hears this and uses his connection is to try and find that Al Garcia to get the money for himself with his girlfriend. If I read any more, Evan will die.
I like after that. That's basically the plot. That's true. That is the plot. It's a pretty straightforward, a pretty quick opening, and is basically a road trip movie. I mean, yeah.
I think that's a good high. Let's give closing statements. I think we can't
I don't think
do
we can
anything that's
that.
better than this.
I think
This
that's
ending.
the best we're ever gonna get.
I can't give a closing statement. I'm crying. This is the second time we've read through it together, and I'm sick.
Actually, we could.
I heard you hit your
we could
desk.
read the closing because that's how because we're about to close the episode.
Jesus
we could read
Christ.
the closing of the transcript.
No, please don't read any more of
No,
that.
we're not doing it. We're not reading anymore.
So we're on Podbean,
Jesus
we're on
Christ.
Overcast, Apple, Spotify, Google. Your name it anyway. You can get an RSS feed.
I love how we say no, don't do
That's
it. And he
where
just
we
does
are
it anyway.
exactly. If you'd like to,
You see this communication we have
if
as a
you'd
team,
like to
folks?
comment, like our first one did. She was I'm not assuming the dinner. They were
Anyway.
the lucky person to comment first. And they will.
Guys, what are your
they will
final
be
thoughts on the movie?
immortalized in history. If you'd like to write a sin, if you'd like to write a sin, we have an email.
Evan, what's your final? Callum,
Well,
final
I'm about
thoughts,
to finish.
please.
rentalrewind.biz@gmail.com. And then it's spelled out. We'd like to hear from you.
Callum, what were your final
I
thoughts?
thought
on
it
the
was
movie?
very fun. I mean, I found a lot of the characters kind of annoying. But I think that was I could get around that. Like I can look at a plot more than
I think if
I
you
can look
can-
at a plot more than the characters.
I think if you hated the characters and enjoyed the movie anyway, that's a good
Exactly,
sign. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, definitely. Evan, what do you think?
I think that Bruce Dern's character should have been played by a war on oats.
No, Benny played a war on oats.
I know, but I'm making the joke. I was
No, I
trying to
get
relate
you.
to this. Anyway, hang on. You know what? You do your thoughts. I still need to compose.
Evan
myself
needs
'cause they
to
killed me.
collect himself. Well, this
I'm
was
gonna
my
wipe the tears from my face.
pick of the week. I'm a very huge Tom Hanks fan, and unlike Inherent Vice, I was very pleased with this, even though I haven't seen it, and it was more of a blind purchase. Sorry?
Go on. I was gonna say I feel like you can't go wrong with a director like Joe Dante and Tom Hanks and the rest of the cast.
No, definitely not. It's a very good cast.
All-star.
You can't go wrong with Inherent Vice's cast. However, you did. We shit
Good
on.
point.
I hope Paul Thomas Anderson never hears this because he's done very good work.
we've acknowledged the fact that his other movies are good. I'd love There Will Be Blood.
I'd love it if one of us is in a job interview and they're like, "Oh, so we understand that you do a podcast." And it's like, "Oh, yeah." And they're like, "So what? We understand you did an episode on Inherent Vice, and we listened to it. Do you want to give us a rundown?"
Yeah, they bring Paul Thomas Henderson in, and he just looks at us and goes, "Fuck you."
He just sits down in the job interview, like, "Oh, don't mind me. I'm just sitting here. Don't mind me."
He comes in holding a crowbar, just sits down. It's like, all right.
I'm just sitting in. I'm just curious about. I just want to know what what you guys are gonna be in the job interview for. Just puts the crowbar on the table. Clunk.
Well, knowing how much you talk about the podcast, probably would be.
Touche, old man.
Anyway, Evan, have you compiled yourself?
Yes.
Go on.
No, yeah.
I didn't. Callum, you never rated it. You never gave it a rating. Sorry.
I'll give it 3 cul-de-sacs out of 5 cul-de-sacs.
Evan, go. Actually, I didn't get a rating either. I will give it. I wouldn't say this is the greatest movie of all time. It's definitely one of my. I'm definitely going to rewatch it again sometime soon because I did have fun with it. So I'd give it 4 tool sets that Carol's father bought me out of 5. Now, please, Evan, if you will.
I thought it was fun. Like I said, it's not the kind of movie that my tastes is, more directed towards. But it's the kind of movie that you can sit down and enjoy really any time. That kind of like easy to watch, solid, 80s kind of kids movie, kind of not. I guess, I don't know, appropriate for kids and adults kind of comedy with a little bit of horror splashed in there. The cast is great, the director's great. I think everything fits together nicely. There's nice script moments. It all it has callbacks, things like that. All the nice little things that you like to see in a movie. I thought it was quite solid, and despite the fact I don't own a copy of it myself, and I probably wouldn't buy it, even though it's an hour release and all that. I think it's still a fun movie that I'd be happy to rewatch if someone else wanted to sit down and watch it. So I reckon I'll give it I'd say 4 Tom Hanks tantrums out of 5.
4 Tom Hanks beer crushing tantrums out of 10. Out of 5, sorry.
We don't do the 10 anymore.
But yeah, a side note I will say, not to expand on, but I noticed the title sequence and the closing sequence were very kind of bookend of the of like the satellite shot of the city.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you'd like to write us in, you can at rentalrewind.biz@gmail.com. I don't need to spell it out because apparently I did that last time and people got mad at me. We're on Instagram and Twitter, but we don't use Twitter really.
It's there. It's automated to our Podbean.
It's automated to our
maybe
Facebook and
one
Podbean.
Day
yeah,
we'll start posting like best of bits up there, and maybe like some snarky tweets that'll get us cancelled in 20 years. Who knows?
No.
Let's not do that.
You won't be allowed on the Twitter.
Don't let me on either. I'll start arguing with people.
Yeah, exactly. Only I may do the Twitter. Yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, not Snapchat, because fuck Snapchat. No, don't fuck Snapchat.
Yeah, no, fuck Snapchat.
We're on Podbean, so that's basically where you get your RSS feeds. So iTunes, Amazon, Spotify.
Yeah, we're on
Podcast Manager, which I listen to because I'm on Android. So anywhere you can get a RSS feed. Please write us in for movie suggestions, or if you feel like you have some criticisms, please feel to comment or email us in. Probably will address it on the show, but don't be afraid we don't bite. I've been Seb.
On the show. We'll bully you if you leave a bad comment.
They'll bully you. I will moderate. I've been Seb, joined by Callum and Evan. This has been Rewind Rental episode 11, talking about the Burbs.